focusing on how can I be more productive with and create more revenue, how can I be more efficient and create more revenue, and how can I be more statistically successful creating revenue, that will only provide you more options and more opportunities, even if you have to raise money to scale. Manasseh, awesome. What's your question?
Just to explain the background is me and my brother opened up this business, sales business, 3 months ago. So in our business, our goal is to be able to increase the cash flow.
Yeah, so how do we increase cash flow? Well, there's several different ways. One, let's start with the actual revenue that you're creating today. So one of the things is I would prioritize, since you are generating revenue, how can I increase the productivity to generate more revenue? How can I create efficiencies to create more revenue? And the statistical success. Since you sound like you're selling things, if we can create processes and systems and experience and situational knowledge in order to effectuate better statistical success, I can create exponential growth. So just for example, if you're twice as productive in the next month, you'll double your sales. If you're twice as efficient, you'll quadruple your sales. If you're twice as statistically successful, you'll 8 times your sales. And you won't have to worry about borrowing money or getting investment. And if you do need investment for expansion, it's much easier to get when you show that you have 800% earnings in a month, 3 months, 12 months, whatever it may be. The main focus, since you are generating revenue, is to scale that revenue. Now, if you're already in a point where you can scale it and it's just a matter of capital, then you need to go through a standard procedure of creating an executive summary and a business plan in order to then ask for help in person, on the phone, via email and media, radio, print, TV, and social media. Do you know anybody that can help me? Angel investors. Usually at this stage of the business, you start with family and friends, because you have the most credibility with families and friends. And there's 5 things that people will look at when they invest in you. And the number one thing, and it's the least talk about thing that people do when they raise money, it's credibility. I always tell people, if I could be 100% credible, I'd never have to work, because I could just walk around and say, hey, give me $1 million. And people are like, oh yeah, you're 100% credible, here's the money. They wouldn't even ask me why. Now, that's not realistic, but I try to achieve that potential by always increasing my credibility. And the way that I do that is through values. You know, through gratitude, through forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. Those are the 4 key components that I have for credibility. The next thing down the line is an emotional attachment. The more you can get those family and friends, or if you have to move on to the next level of angel investors, which are the experienced angel investors with a bunch of different tech groups that are out there all over the world, and they are in person, on the phone, email, and media availability. But if you're able to attach emotionally, that's a very key component, second to credibility, of why people will give early stage companies money. Now, you have a big advantage over a lot of early stage companies because you have revenue. So now you can give a quantitative analysis of the reasons why the money that you take in today will exponentially grow the business and provide them a higher return on investment. That's just quantitative value. That's not subjective. Right? The credibility you have is subjective, the emotional attachment you have is subjective, but the quantitative value of those reasons they should invest, you should be able to articulate with math, meaning with money. The next is the impact. We live in a different society today where people want to have an impact, so to quantitatively show the impact that you're having is crucial. And then finally, illustrating the capabilities that you have today in order to effectuate the revenue that you've received. And with an investment, what capabilities will you gain, and what's the exponential quantitative result from gaining that? So if you look at those 5 things, but my advice right now, because you do have revenue, is spend the majority of your time focusing on how can I be more productive with and create more revenue, how can I be more efficient and create more revenue, and how can I be more statistically successful creating revenue. That will only provide you more options and more opportunities, even if you have to raise money to scale.